All right, Matt, what was your collectible growing up? What was the thing that you, like, obsessed over growing up?
Growing up was Legos. It's different now, but
Lego.
growing up was Legos, yeah.
Ah, okay. For me, it was, like, trading cards. So, like, I would collect Yu-Gi-Oh cards, Pokemon cards. I'd collect, even, like, I don't know if you guys have it, but we have, like, sticker albums for sports teams. So, like, the Premier League, the UK's football tournament, you could get like a sticker album every year where you could get each player as like a sticker and you put them in their team's page and you stick them down and all that kind of thing. Anything involving collecting stuff like that, I was obsessed, absolutely obsessed with it. But yours
Yeah, I
was
don't.
Lego.
Mine was Lego. I still do have a few Legos. I still have all my old childhood Legos. Like I've got a tote full of them. I've
Wow.
kept all the booklets and everything. None of them are worth anything. That's why I still have them. But no, I don't think we did the sticker books. But I was never into sports cards. I did have Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I didn't have any Pokemon cards.
Yeah.
But yeah, Legos was mine.
Well, it's funny you say they're not worth anything, that's why I still have them. Because that brings us on very nicely to the thing that a few people have asked us to talk about, which is, imagine if that childhood hobby of yours was taken away from you by scalpers.
Ooh.
Because there seems to be, it's always been a thing, but there seems to be a bit of an epidemic at the moment of people, scum, let's call them what they are, going into shops or whatever and just mass buying loads of stuff, normally things like Pokemon cards, One Piece trading cards, all those kinds of things, mass buying them so they sell out in seconds and then selling them for like 2, 3, 4 times the price.
So this is just a prediction of mine. I don't think in the trading card world, I don't think the scalping's gonna last much longer. Because I did see something. People have now made machines. They're basically MRI machines for trading cards. They can actually put them in this little deal and scan them and see what is inside of them. And so I don't think the resale value is going to be anything because everybody's going to be paranoid that they are now buying an unopened pack that's been scanned and nothing's in it.
Oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. Because I thought you were going to say it's not going to last much longer because of something that the industry's doing about it, but we'll come on to that. For me, just as just someone looking in, I feel like Pokemon is the worst one for it at the moment. Like, there are some very big competitors. One Piece is bad for it. How's Magic the Gathering for it? I'm not a Magic the Gathering person. You are.
So, I haven't bought Magic the Gathering cards in a while, but as far as I know, scalping itself isn't bad. It's the price of the singles themselves that have kind of gotten out of hand.
The reselling the singles. Right, yeah.
But
the scalping doesn't just apply to, like, things like trading cards and stuff, though. They do it for everything.
Oh,
they're doing it for game consoles. Like, it's ridiculous.
You can't get a new generation graphics card. You can't even get older generations. So Nvidia just launched their 50 series GPUs. They sold out within the day, and no one can get a hold of them anymore. Scalpers have gone off. It's $5,000 for a graphics card. I could rebuild my PC twice for that. Like it's
ridiculous. Yeah. That's ridiculous. Do you remember when the PS5 launched and you couldn't find one?
Oh, yeah.
You just could not find one. Oh, that was ridiculous. But this is the thing, right? So a couple of you in the comments in the Discord have asked us to talk about scalping because we're both mega nerds. You know, we're both sort of like into all these things. So like, I forgot about the graphics card thing, but like, there's so many different things that we both sort of touch on with our hobbies that they're all being arguably ruined by scalping.
They really are.
It's so bad.
And like the age-old, mentality of, well, if people would stop buying them from scalpers wouldn't exist. The thing is, there's always somebody that comes along with the money that doesn't care and they would just rather have the item.
Yeah, and that argument is wrong anyway, because that doesn't apply to people who are sort of like casually doing it or whatever. Like, think about this, like, your kid has been dying to have the new Switch, the Switch 2 that's coming out. Kid's been dying for it. Like they love their Switch. They really want Switch 2. Like you don't you want to get them it for maybe Christmas. It's supposedly coming out this year at some point, maybe. They haven't like properly announced the release date yet, but it's supposed to be this year. Like they're already talking about the idea that it's going to be scalped beyond belief and unable to be gotten hold of. Like, what are parents meant to do when they want to get their kids that for Christmas? What about people who work stupidly hard, and their one like reward, as it were, is they get the new Switch and the new Switch games and all that kind of thing. Like, it doesn't apply to everybody. The whole thing of like, if you stop buying from scalpers, you go where the supply is. That's the whole point, right? Like, so it's just, I don't know.
I feel like I
think it's bad.
It's always been an issue in a way, because I remember back when the Xbox 360 came out, 100 years ago, it was hard to get a hold of back then. I remember everybody was running to the nearest, retail seller, Target, Walmart, GameStop, when GameStop was still big, and constantly trying to buy the new Xbox 360, and they were they were out of stock. No one could get a hold of them.
Yeah, it's always been a thing. But would you say like the general sort of like belief at the moment is that it's worse than it's ever been, or do you think it's as bad as it's been, but like we just see it more?
So I think what makes it worse is the fact that game company, or I won't say game companies in general haven't done anything about it. I know Nintendo had said their solution to scalping was to just make so much of them that you can always get one at a retail, seller.
Yeah.
You can't. Somebody's going to sell out, and then...
Yeah. Well, for those who maybe don't know what we're on about, let me give you an example. So, recently, there's a new set of Pokemon cards that came out. Every so often... Pokemon and Magic the Gathering and One Piece and every other trading card game in existence, they release like new sets of cards. The newest one to come out is Blooming Waters, and that's already causing issues. But the one before that, or two before that, something, was the 151 collection. I think they like re-released like almost like a remastered version of the original 151 cards, and I'm just gonna show you what transpired. I don't know if you've seen it, Matt, but I've seen it, and it's ridiculous.
I haven't heard anything about it.
Yep,
it's Black Friday all over again. Jeez.
It is, right? Yep. Yeah. I mean, that person literally, that guy just fell over, and they all crowded over him and grabbed all the ones that he dropped.
Ooh, wow!
Like literally, he drops them, and they all crowd around and grab the ones that he dropped.
Like, that's insane.
Welcome to what is the reality of scalping at the moment.
It's literally Black Friday stuff all over again.
Yeah, but every time some new collectible comes out, and for me, I think it's so bad. Like I've started doing a thing where, because obviously I have multiple channels. One of the things that I've started doing is looking at like knockoff products and seeing how good they are. Like because I feel like if companies are not going to start fixing the problem by limiting the amount you can buy, and maybe do whatever it is that they can do to sort of like stop or limit the amount of scalping, people are going to turn to knockoffs.
I mean, in any media, people have always turned to other ways to getting the service. I mean, that's the whole meaning of sailing the high seas. Like
exactly, yeah.
To quote Jurassic Park, life finds a way.
Right. Well, resellers are an issue. Scalpers reselling stuff that they've gotten is one thing. Resellers in general are a problem, right? Like I know. one of the big problems, Nintendo are not very popular recently for one thing that they're doing. They're popular in general, but they're not very popular for one thing they're doing because people are begging them to release their sort of like their classics collection, as it were. So like Nintendo have always had an issue with emulators, right? And don't quote me, I'm not a lawyer, but I believe that the general rule is that emulators are legally allowed, but playing a copied version of a game on that emulator is the illegal thing.
Correct.
Right?
Correct, because it's the game disc itself that is copyrighted, not the hardware ability to play it.
Yeah. So for years, people have been emulating games. People do it. It's just a thing. Where basically, they just download, because you download a program, you download a copy of this game, you load it up, boom, there's your game for the great cost of nothing. In the past, you can argue the whole thing of like, no, you should support the developers, you should support this, support that, and everything. And people like Nintendo have been really anti-emulators. In fact, I think they're the ones who originally did the first lawsuit about emulators.
It's LimeWire all over again.
It's LimeWire all over again, right? Right. Shout out to people old enough to know about LimeWire.
Yeah.
Yeah. But as time's gone on, they've had one solution. What is the easiest solution to people emulating your games, your past games?
Just re-release them.
Right. There's always going to be some people who are going to pirate. Right?
Yeah.
There's always going to be some people who will pirate. But there are a lot of people who want to genuinely buy the product. But this is the problem. Nintendo hated emulators. And then one day they went, hey, we're going to release our own emulators on the Switch. And okay.
And I saw those
okay,
too.
Cool. It's like, okay, cool. Release your own official emulator, and then we can play the classic games, and we don't have to pirate. But they're not releasing any of the games. They're trickling games out little by little.
They haven't done a GameCube one yet, have they?
No, as far as I'm aware.
Because I know they did the handhelds, and I know they did the NES and the SNES. But they didn't do the GameCube. If they did the GameCube, I'd jump on that, because there's a lot of GameCube games that I grew up playing and I want to play.
But this is the thing, Scalpers would be absolutely cut off at the source if they did that, because people who are reselling games, and it's not just individuals, it's like secondhand shops and games shops and sort of thing, they're all guilty of this, right? It's like estate agents deciding the price of the housing, it's don't necessarily blame this person, it's like the estate agent company are deciding how valuable things are, right? It's the same thing with game companies, like secondhand shops and that sort of thing. They're deciding what to resell it at. They're deciding what to resell it at, and they're going by the market of what all the other resellers are selling it at. There's copies of Pokemon Red and Blue and stuff that are over £100. They're over £100. I've seen legitimately that PS1 collection behind me. I've been slowly building that. There's a couple of games I want but I can't get them because they're over £300.
So
for a PS1 game.
We have a store in my area. I don't know if it's nationwide in America, but it's called Vintage Stock. And Vintage Stock is what you would think it is. It is a stock of vintage media. They have DVDs. They have all the different games. They have games for every game system, all the way back to the SNES and whatnot. And they are expensive. God forbid you find one of the popular ones, like a Super Mario World, Super Nintendo cartridge, is easily going to be $80 to $100.
Yeah, but if you've seen though, the thing is this is all determined by what the market is valuing it at, right? Because have you seen the videos of people going to Japan, going into these little shops and finding Game Boy Colors for $10.
No, I haven't.
Or really cheap. Yeah, because they don't really have the same culture of that sort of thing. You can get these old versions of things really cheap because they don't have the price hiking. And I feel like a lot of scalping and all this kind of stuff is literally just because companies refuse to do anything about it.
It is.
Like,
and the thing
they don't
is it's counterproductive to flood the market with an excess of stock anyway, because all that's going to do is allow scalpers to just buy more.
Yeah, I think companies like Nintendo was saying that for, I think, the next set of cards, they're going to flood the market with it. They've said it about the Switch as well. The Switch 2, they're going to flood the market with Switch 2. So many Switch 2s that scalpers couldn't possibly buy all of them. And I'm just sat there going, you underestimate the size of their wallets.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have let them grow and grow and grow for so many years. Like, these scalpers have so much money.
I partially wonder if that's half the reason a lot of gaming or media in general is switching to digital, because it prevents reselling. Because if you don't have a physical copy, you can't resell it.
I think that's probably part of it, right?
It
That's
could
gotta
very
part of
well
it.
be.
Yeah, digital almost eliminates like the majority of pirating. Like eliminates the majority of pirating and scalping. There'll always be ways around it. People will always build emulators, and people always do this and that and everything. But definitely the price gouging and everything that would be hindered by digital. But you could argue, like, how are they going to digitalize trading cards? But Pokemon just released a mobile version of their trading card game that doesn't have any physical cards.
Really?
So
I know
like,
Magic the Gathering has online.
They've got the trading card game Pocket or whatever it's called. It blew up overnight. It's kind of died down a bit now, but it's literally just the trading cards, but on a mobile game. And when it was announced, I laughed at it. I was there going like, "Oh great, another version of the trading card game," because they have the physical cards, they have the trading card game already on PC and stuff. Like, have you ever seen them open up Pokemon cards and there's like a QR code on one of the cards?
No. Oh.
No. There's always like a QR code on one of the cards. Yeah.
Is that so you can just like pop it into the game?
Yeah, you'll always get one of these at the top of the pack, and there's like a QR code here. If you scan that QR code or put in the code that's along with it, you get a free booster pack on the PC version of the game.
Okay.
So they've always had that. So
like
you've got those.
Like
they might well do, yeah. But so you have those, and then they've gone, okay, now we're going to release a third trading card game where you can battle and open packs and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, that's ridiculous. But people have loved it. People have absolutely loved it. And I think part of the reason people have loved it is because of scalpers.
Yeah,
they
you
can't
can
get
always
hold of
have
the actual
access
cards.
to it.
You always have access to it. Always.
I think if you are somebody that actually enjoys playing the game to play the game, I think one way around it is kind of doing what I did for you. So for those of you who don't know, there's a picture frame behind Matt, and in that is 5 handmade Pokemon cards. And I made those just as, a gift. They deal with Matt's Discord mods and everything. And I think people are going to resort to doing that because you can make cards that are just for you to play with. And it's not that hard.
It's not hard. It's not hard. And this is what I was saying about buying knockoffs as well. Like, I feel like they don't quite realize that if you're going to keep letting scalpers do this, you're going to keep letting scalpers do this, you're going to keep letting second-hand resellers massively spike up the price because you refuse to release your version of the game. You're going to get people emulating. You're going to get people buying knockoffs. You're going to get people finding their own ways to do it. I think it's stupid, and I don't understand why they don't see what a risk this is.
I just find it funny that pieces of literal cardboard are worth so much. Like, it's because they don't exist anymore. So there's a famous Magic the Gathering card called the Black Lotus. It's the most expensive card. Post Malone bought it for like $2 million.
I don't play Magic the Gathering, and I've heard of the Black Lotus card.
I've got a buddy who I haven't talked to him in years, and when I last talked to him, he had said that he swore he still had 1 or 2 in his giant like tote of Magic the Gathering cards because he's been playing since release. Yeah. And at this point, if they re-release that card, the entire Magic the Gathering community is gonna, have an aneurysm because that card just loses its value.
Yeah, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. But like, I think as well, like the problem is there's almost like this culture going around of almost encouraging the scalping as well. Like, because obviously there's the side of people are buying them, right, which is bad enough. Like, people are buying from scalpers, which I get some people like, oh, I have to have the thing and the FOMO thing of it and all that sort of thing. But at the end of the day, you're buying from a scalper, you're encouraging, you're putting money back in their pocket, you know. But then I don't understand why people go in for certain things. Like, have you seen? You may not see because it's very much algorithm based. Have you seen what are called rip and shippers? No, rip and shippers are a thing in Pokemon. They're a thing in all sorts, but Pokemon's like the dominant one. Basically, these are people who have bought a ton of these boxes of cards and everything, and they're selling them. They do it on Twitch, they do it on TikTok. I don't know if they do it on YouTube. They might, but they go live, and you can buy booster packs of Pokemon cards from them, and they will open them up on camera, look through and go, oh, you got a hit, and all that sort of thing, and they'll package them up and they'll ship them off to you. They rip it and they ship it.
Just because they have access to it.
Because they have them. They bought all the stock. And so not only are you buying it at a slightly hiked up price, but they're opening them up on camera for you, and they're sending them off to you. And not all of them are bad, don't get me wrong, but a lot of them are. Not only that, I've seen ones where they say, oh, do you want me to send you the bulk cards? So they're not even sending you all of the cards. They're not even sending you all the cards. So there's people who are buying packs from people who are selling them at a higher price than retail. They're not even getting to open them. They're watching somebody open them on camera. Who some of them are careful with it, some of them aren't careful with it, and they flick, you know, going through, and then you just see them tap, put them in little sleeves, and they ship them off to you.
You might as well just go into a restaurant and say, "Hey, buddy, you want to eat my food for me? I'll give you $5."
Right.
Like that's it. That's literally what it takes the fun out of it.
Explain to me what the point is. You have bought a pack of cards for more than it's worth. You've not even had the pleasure of opening it, and in some cases, they don't even send you all the cards.
So,
and there's been a few very quickly as well. There's been a few who have been caught. This is just one or two. It's not everybody who have been caught finding that there's a really rare card, and they quickly take the pack off screen, card out, and put a bad one in, and do it like that.
And that's why I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't trust them because there is nothing stating, unless they specifically mention it, where they can't just be like, whoa, you got like a $2,000 card. No, you didn't. Here, I'll just throw this one in here and, replace it. That way you get your card. There's nothing preventing them from doing it.
There have been several people caught doing it.
And like you touched on, it takes the fun out of it. A few years back, me and a bunch of buddies got together and bought booster boxes of Magic the Gathering cards, and we just sat there for like 3 hours opening hundreds of packs together, seeing what we could get.
Right, this is the thing. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. But it feeds into it. It gives them a reason to do it. Do you want to know how bad it's gotten? And this is legitimately like it blew my mind. Right, when I was in hospital with Em, having her just given birth to my son. Right, we're sat in like the maternity ward, like recovering and everything. I'm recovering because I had such a hard time, but like, she's recovering and everything. There's loads. There's like 4 people in this room. Like they're all recovering from giving birth because it's fairly a traumatic experience. Like they're recovering from this and everything. Families are visiting. And I kid you not, we're sat there eating a sandwich and everything, and the person diagonal across from us, we're like the bottom right of the room, they're the top left of the room. The person across from us, their partner, husband, boyfriend, whatever, is sat there explaining to these friends and family who are visiting that him and a buddy are starting a rip and ship channel. He's just sat there going, yeah, well, it's really good money because, you got to have the investment because you got to buy the products and everything. But then, you go live and people will, like, buy the cards from you and stuff. I'm still going, what the hell has this world come to?
Rip and Ship is just drop shipping with quicker return.
Yeah.
The
birth of my child and I can't escape Pokemon.
Now, okay, so for those of you who don't know, Matt does have other channels, and one of them is very heavily Pokemon based. I have joked with him for years that I'm waiting for the moment when I'm walking down, through a mall or something, and I see or hear one of your videos, and there's a fan over there, and I'm gonna name drop you so hard. I'd be like, I know that guy.
That'd be funny. I've had moments like that. I was a teacher previously to doing content full time, and before I sort of transitioned into part time, and then I went to doing this full time. When I was part time, I did online tutoring, and I had no less than 3 students who knew who I was. Do you know how awkward that is?
Just bringing up, hey, now that homework's done, when's your next video coming out?
Literally, right? Like, can I talk to you about Pokemon? It's like, not really, no.
No, sorry, little buddy. Maybe next time.
But yeah, no, like it's so ridiculous. I feel like it's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. The scalping is just getting out of hand.
It really has.
Oh, God, the thing is, I feel bad for my son because he's going to get into something, right? Mm-hmm. He's going to get into something, and it's almost going to have to be a case of like if he tries to get into something that's so heavily scalped, I'm going to be like, I'm sorry, mate, you can't really get this because it's so hard to get. It's so hard to get hold of it.
And the thing is, you can't make laws against it, really, because, you're doing is selling something that you own. They can't ban that.
It has to be store policy. It has to be store policy. Like, every customer can buy one, or, something like that, which some stores have done, in fairness. But there's also the problem that the wholesalers are selling to them, right? So the wholesalers, if you don't know how wholesaling works, basically, the company create the product, they send it to the wholesalers who then sell it to the shops, right? So they're basically the middleman between the factory and the shop, right? Everything does it: food, electronics, books, everything does it. But they're selling to the scalpers, and they're selling large volumes to the scalpers and to the price hikers and all that kind of thing because they sell product.
At the end of the day, the companies are making the money that they have allotted. Their budget is accomplished. Their sales quota has been met. They don't care what people do at home.
No, they don't care how it's sold. They just want it sold.
And all scalping is doing is making their product even more popular, so their pockets are lined. So
exactly.
Now, I hate scalpers with a burning passion. I thought to myself, I was like, man, it'd be really nice to upgrade my graphics card. There's a new launch coming out. They're supposed to be, a more affordable price. Where's the clown makeup, right? And they've sold out. You can't get them.
Yeah. If you were to try and like tie this up, if you were to try and maybe not stop scalping, because I don't think you can ever stop it. It's always been a thing. But if you were to try and like limit it, like, how do you think you could limit it? Like, maybe, like, get it back down to how it was maybe in the 70s or the 80s or the 90s, or, like, lower it down?
The only way that I think it would be feasible is what Nintendo's trying to do, is just overwhelm the market so much. Because, if people do try to keep up with the influx, they're going to wind up with so many units in their possession, and they're not going to be selling them, because if stores can continue replacing them at an affordable rate, but the sheer amount of product you're going to have to produce to be able to do that,
not everyone can do it.
No.
I think
Nintendo might.
I think that's part of it. I think what really needs to happen is shops and wholesalers, for sure, need to limit how much of something people can buy. Because they've done it for other things. There's a thing in the UK. Scalpers. Well, I just realised it's scalpers. There's a thing in the UK that's always been a thing where, like, for some reason, I don't know the reason why, but UK, like, baby formula, is considered like really good quality, right? Like it's like safe. There's very little in it that'll harm a child, and supposedly, and all that kind of stuff, right? And so what was a thing for a long time was a lot of people would mass buy baby formula. I'm not joking. They'd mass buy baby formula and sell it abroad. I am not joking.
That doesn't surprise me.
No, to the point where stores and supermarkets and stuff had to put a cap on how many you can buy at one time.
So I will say...
There's a buy limit on baby formula, or there was, because of scalpers.
I think they do it depending on the product. If it pops off, they do it. But I've seen retail stores here in the States that have, with Pokemon releases, they will say limit it'll either be 1 to 3 per customer. Right now, America's having a huge egg crisis because of bird-related illnesses, so the shortages are getting really bad with eggs. And if you go into stores, it's 1 to 2 cartons per customer.
You're telling me those egg prices aren't coming down?
Yeah.
Well.
Could have predicted.
It would have predicted that, but I think that's the only way to sort of like manage it, right? Is to put out more product when you can, so that it's harder for scalpers to take all of the product, and limit how much people can buy, like at the wholesaler level as well. Limit how much a store can have. You know,
I maybe if you are a retail chain or a known shop. Maybe not limit them so that way they can keep their supply going, but individuals, like if you do not have an established, I wouldn't even say an LLC, like an established business, like shop, a brick and mortar shop, then you are not allowed to.
Unfortunately, it doesn't work. Like I'm an individual, but I can be registered as a business.
That's what I'm saying. If you don't have a brick and mortar shop.
I think the problem with that is then you kind of kill the online market, which is things like Amazon, eBay, all those sorts of things. Because eBay aren't just second-hand, they're first-hand stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
You kill all of those, I think it's just maybe like you've just got to limit the amount. Yeah, maybe you got to limit the amount, I think. Which they do to an extent, because you have to have earned good faith with them. Like, you get X amount, you sell it. You get X amount that's a little bit more, you sell the little bit more. But
something needs to be done.
Something does need to be done, but it's not going to be easy, whatever it is.
No. Scalping, unfortunately, is going to stick around for quite a while.
Yeah.
I mean, look at ticket sales even. You can't... Any concert in the States that I want to go to, if I have missed the original drop, you can't get it. My wife loves K-pop. I saw that there was a concert that was going to be nearby, and tickets normally would be, $100 to $200 depending on what seat you get. You can't get a single seat in there for under $1,000 right now.
It's ridiculous.
It's stupid.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But what do you guys think? What do you think? Have you experienced issues with scalping? Like, what do you think? Do you think maybe it's been blown out of proportion? It's not that bad. Let us know in the comments or in the Discord. And if you have anything else you want us to talk about, let us know, because we don't mind having these discussions. We quite like them. And if you have liked, please like, subscribe, maybe hit that notification bell. And until the next video, bye.
Bye.